So I can't say I'm surprised at all. Donald J. Trump took center stage in Davos, Switzerland for the World Economic Forum. Leaders, distinguished ones from all pockets of the globe, on hand as many a subjects, many a topics talked about as the world certainly awaited POTUS 47. By the way, he was grounded momentarily. The plane left late last night from Andrews Air Force Base because of mechanical issues. So POTUS 47 and his crew, they hitched a ride, another plane to Switzerland. It was a long night. It made for a long day, but no problem because President Trump is like the Energizer Bunny. We know it just keeps on going. By the way, the day before Trump arrived in Davos, the protesters were out. I'm sure they're the paid type of provocateurs we see here stateside. Those stateside protesters, they should take notice of how lucky they are, how good they have it. They're allowed to protest because in Davos, when they get out of hand, what do? There you go. They break out the water cannons. Anyway, Trump, with his delays, made it to Switzerland, and he put the world and world leaders, high-profiled ones, distinguished ones from all pockets in all corners of the globe, on notice. The U.S. is back. We're not taking crap from anyone, including NATO, who's been ripping the U.S. off for years. It's about time they pay their fair share. Take a look and listen to President Donald J. Trump.
Until I came along, NATO was only supposed to pay 2% of GDP. But they weren't paying, most of the countries weren't paying anything. The United States was paying for virtually 100% of NATO. And I got that stopped. I said, that's not fair. But then more importantly, I got NATO to pay 5%, and now they were paying, and now they are paying. So something nobody said was possible. They said, we will never go up higher than 2%. But they went to 5%, and now they're paying the 5. They didn't pay the 2, and now they're paying the 5.
Meanwhile, Trump also had a chance to individually address some of those world leaders, even the ones that are closer to home, our neighbors to the north, and the Canadian Prime Minister, who he says should be grateful for what they have with their neighbors to the south in the United States. Again, take a look and listen to our Commander-in-Chief.
Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your Prime Minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
And Trump referring to, again, Mark Carney, the PM of Canada, who had some big mouth comments of his own earlier in the week. And I do agree with President Trump about NATO and his remark there on Canada. Yes, they should be absolutely grateful. They certainly ride the coattails of the USA. What's good for America is good for Canada. That will include the Iron Dome. It's a key point when it comes to the United States taking over Greenland. That Iron Dome is something Trump is looking to build in the next 3 years as he rounds out his presidency of POTUS 47. Once again, here's Trump.
Is this land on which we're going to build the greatest golden dome ever built? We're building a golden dome.
Now, of course, the big story heading into the World Economic Forum, Greenland. As I just touched on it, and what a big part of the Iron Dome it'll play, being built over all of North America. Now, the acquisition of Greenland, of course, coming without controversy. However, the big news, looks like Trump, NATO, and the powers to be have worked out the framework of a deal, as they'll spend another day in some other areas tomorrow in Davos. More to be determined. But Trump absolutely said today he's not looking to use force in taking Greenland. Here's another look and listen as we get a take on that from Donald J. Trump.
We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force where we would be, frankly, unstoppable. But I won't do that. Okay? Now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force.
And it's going to happen sooner or later. You knew it was. The art of the deal, right? Donald J. Trump went into the World Economic Forum knowing that he'd leave with exactly what I said, and that headline says there, a framework for the deal. He's getting it done for the safety and the well-being of not only America, for Europe and the rest of the world. And absolutely, if Trump doesn't get Greenland for the U.S., you betcha Putin and Xi, they'll make their move and they'll take it for themselves, or they'll split it respectively with Russia and China. So you've got to do a little TCB and take care of business. And that's exactly what Trump is doing in Davos. He even had a way to stomp on Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He's looking to become POTUS 48 in 2028. Lord help us, please. But he's been running his big mouth in Davos. At the end of the day, there you see the headline, Trump gets the last laugh. Puts the kibosh on Gavin running around Davos like he's a VIP. Anyway, what a fantastic day in Switzerland for President Trump and America. Let the good times roll. Year 2 of the Trump administration, part 2, is just getting underway. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wacky. And in the end, it's going to be great for America.